Prioritize your faith above all else. My friends, make God the very bedrock upon which you build your lives, the guiding star that illuminates your every thought and deed. Everything you see in me today, every accomplishment, every blessing, every material possession you might perceive, and yes, I confess, I've accumulated a few things I'm rather proud of along the way. All of it, and I cannot emphasize this enough, stems directly from the boundless, overflowing grace of God. Engrave that truth upon your very soul. It is a gift beyond measure, a wellspring of endless potential. Allow me to share a story from the annals of my past, a pivotal moment that shaped the very trajectory of my life. It occurred approximately 4 decades ago, on the 27th of March, 1975, to be precise. It was early spring that year, and I was, to put it charitably, a college dropout, a rather pathetic excuse for a student whose GPA barely registered a miserable 1.7. I sincerely hope none of you are currently navigating such treacherous academic waters. Please, for your own sake, avoid allowing your grades to plummet to such depths. Back then, in those aimless days, I whiled away most of my time hanging around my mother's humble hair salon, a modest establishment she lovingly operated to make ends meet. We simply called it a hair salon back then. I'm not entirely sure what the trendy term is these days, perhaps salon, or maybe something even fancier, like image consultancy. One particularly uneventful afternoon, as I sat listlessly in my mother's shop, my gaze wandered and settled upon the large, ornate mirror that dominated one wall. Reflected in the glass was a woman, seated patiently beneath a rather antiquated and undoubtedly noisy hairdryer, the kind that resembled a giant, chrome-plated beehive. Each time she glanced up, our eyes inexplicably met, creating an unsettling sense of connection. Oddly enough, I had never seen her before in my life. She was a complete and utter stranger. Suddenly, she spoke, her voice clear and strangely powerful, resonating within the small, familiar space, cutting through the hum of the hairdryer and the murmur of other customers. "Someone, please, get me a pen, or at least a pencil. Anything will do. I have a prophecy that needs to be written down," she continued, her voice now imbued with an unwavering conviction that sent shivers down my spine, raising goosebumps on my arms. "On March 27th, 1975, this young man will travel to the far corners of the world. He will stand before millions of people and speak with passion and purpose, his words igniting hearts and minds." At that moment in my life, I was utterly consumed by the looming prospect of mandatory military service, feeling completely lost and utterly clueless about what my future held, unsure of what I would do or where I would eventually go. And yet, here she was, this mysterious stranger, boldly declaring that I would travel to the most distant reaches of the earth, inspiring countless millions along the way. The sheer audacity of the statement was breathtaking, and miraculously, unbelievably, those prophetic words came to pass. I have since set foot in countless countries, experienced diverse cultures, and shared my stories with vast audiences, more than I could have ever imagined in my wildest dreams. But the most significant aspect of this journey isn't the material success I've achieved or the cold hard statistics of books sold or speeches given. It est the profound meaning and weight of the words that the stranger gifted me with all those years ago. Those words became my guiding star, illuminating my path and leading me on my life's often unpredictable journey. I've consistently felt an unseen protection, a sense of wise guidance, and even gentle reminders and course corrections whenever I inadvertently strayed from the right path. I've always held God in a sacred and revered place within my heart, and it has undeniably helped me to maintain the necessary humility throughout my life. I'm not always worthy or good enough to deserve His constant closeness, but I know with unwavering certainty that He is always there, watching over me and protecting me from harm. Therefore, the most sincere and heartfelt piece of advice I can offer you, you bright young people standing at the very beginning of your lives, is to cling to Him steadfastly in everything you do, in every decision, big or small, that you make. If you aspire to achieve the things I have achieved, by all means step forward boldly and fearlessly, but always remember that placing God second behind your own personal ambitions and fleeting desires is a grave error, a potentially crushing and devastating failure. Today marks the beginning of an entirely new chapter in your life. And I completely understand that it can feel daunting, perhaps even overwhelming. The world out there is a vast and unfamiliar landscape. A world overflowing with temptations and trivial distractions that can easily lead you astray if you are not careful. You only have one life to live, so live it to the absolute fullest with unbridled passion. Seize every opportunity with both professionalism and a profound sense of responsibility. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is often the greatest teacher, the most valuable lesson you will ever learn. Remember the classic 9-dot puzzle? The one that challenges you to connect 9 dots arranged in a square with only 4 straight lines without lifting your pen from the paper? The only way to successfully solve it is to think completely outside the box. To dare to break free from established patterns and conventional thinking. So, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Think creatively and innovatively. Dare to embrace even big, spectacular failures in order to dream truly big, audacious dreams. But always remember one crucial thing. Dreams without concrete. Well-defined goals are merely empty fantasies and will ultimately only lead to bitter disappointment and crushing regret. So, dream on, absolutely. But at the same time, set clear and achievable goals. Goals for your entire life, goals for the year ahead, goals for the month, and even for the day. I personally always try to set myself at least one meaningful goal each and every day. Sometimes it's just something relatively small and simple, like consciously trying not to say anything unkind or negative to anyone I encounter. It's just a simple daily goal, but it helps me stay on the right track and keeps me grounded, reminding me to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. And understand that in order to achieve those goals, you need unwavering discipline and relentless perseverance. To transform your dreams into tangible realities, you must be disciplined in everything you do, persistent in your efforts every single day. Not just enthusiastic on one particular Tuesday and then give up entirely for the rest of the week. You need a clear and well-thought-out plan, a roadmap to guide you on your journey. As the saying goes, we don't plan to fail. We just fail to plan. So, plan carefully and meticulously. And then stick to that plan resolutely on your determined path to success.